Without further ado, welcome to another Psychic Medium Monday with Psychic and Medium and my friend, the extraordinary Sandra Logan.
Hi, how
There
are
we go,
you?
Sandra. Happy Monday. Last week we touched on a couple different subjects. We kept it quick because it was a holiday, but nonetheless, I mean, it was amazing. It was great. JD3 Radio, what's up? Amy Kraken, hello. Tonight, when we initially kind of brainstormed on what we're going to talk about tonight, I was like, isn't that kind of like the same thing about the pebble in the lake and how it ripples? And you're like, kind of, but not really. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. Miss Sandra Logan.
Hi there. Hi there. You know, I was going to say something we forgot to talk about last week when we were talking about reincarnation. We were talking about Edgar Casey and what have you. There was one thing that I forgot to mention. You know, in the Bible, it says that God opens up the book of life to see our records. And we call it the Akashic records, is what the terminology that we use in modern day time. But that is exactly talking about he opens it up and reads all of your lives. I believe that because he says records. Anyway,
records with an S.
You know,
with an S.
we forgot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, look in the Bible. It talks about him opening up on Judgment Day, opening up the book of records to find your name, to see your life.
Right.
It may say lives. I don't know.
Indicating more than one.
Right.
Nice. Well,
but this time, I do want to say thank you, Crisco, because, you know, I always bring this up and I want you to finish that book about Is It Possible? Because it has stuck in my mind. And everybody asked me, what's the program? And I said, it's Is It Possible? Because that's what I think it should be the title.
Yeah.
You came up with that a long time ago.
But before we start, you know, we're not saying everything that we say is the way it is per se. These are our opinions. These are things that Sandra has just over life. And I think all of us, we've all had so many life experiences that contribute to the way that we think or the way that we view life. Sandra just has abilities and gifts that maybe some of us have we're just not in tune with. Or
exactly. We all
she's actually just honed her craft where she knows how to do things that we're not able to do. So
well, we all have it. And it's just like you said, it's like learning to be a Van Gogh instead of just an artist. You practice, and practice. We all have the ability. Don't ever let anyone tell you you don't. We all are created in the image of God. We all have the ability to do this, to connect with that light and with the other side. We just are out of fear, we don't, or out of insecurity, we can't believe that we do, or, you know, just a million reasons that we don't. But we do all know it, and we all have it, and we all use it because that gut feeling. How many times, Crisco, have you had the gut feeling? Boom, boom, don't do this. And you do it, and then you think, oh, gosh, I knew I was supposed to do that.
Yep.
That's the voice.
That's what it is. And, well, I mean, so today, and I know just looking at our notes, we were talking about the almost like it's the chain of what? What is the exact terminology? The exact word?
The what? I'm sorry?
You called it the
critical
chain?
mass?
Critical mass, correct.
Mm-hmm. It's called the 100th monkey effect. And I found this interesting because it's a theory of social change. And of course, you know, we are in a midst of, we believe all the mass media, we get excited about the anger, we take it all in like it's biblical. And we shouldn't do that because the critical mass, well, first let me explain what the 100th monkey effect is. There were some scientists a long time ago, maybe in the 40s or 50s, that went to Japan, and they were observing the monkey population. Well, there was this one island where these monkeys, they would live on potatoes that they dug up from the dirt. And of course, you can imagine they'd eat them with the dirt. They'd eat them, okay? One monkey one time picked up his little potato and he goes over to the ocean. The scientists observed this, goes over to the ocean, walks over there, washes his potato off and eats it. Within 6 months, half of the tribe of monkeys were washing their potatoes. Before they ate it. So, you know, that just shows it just
and specifically eating it, washing, then eat.
Exactly. So see, and the theory of that, the critical mass, is that all it takes is one person to stand up and make the change, not in anger, not in hate, but in love and compassion, and where we have to go. We have to do this now. And there's light workers, there's angels out there, there's people that want the good things for all of us. And that's where we have to go. We have to get away from all of this, believing all the junk, because somebody on the news media says, well, so and so shot so and so, and you hate, they should do this or they should do that. Listen to some good news for a change, because we're being led. We're always being led, and we follow. We have to follow something else.
It's interesting, and I don't know why he does it. Every time I wave, it flips the angle.
We have ghosts tonight.
A little bit more about the critical mass and the 100 monkeys. It even says the monkeys across the other islands started washing their potatoes in the ocean as well, in great number, almost as if it were understood on a higher level of consciousness.
Oh, I didn't read that, but that's wonderful.
Brings to light the idea of collective consciousness, whereas if it is only a few number of individuals know a new idea or way of life, then it remains the conscious property of those individuals. But at the critical mass of the 100th individual, the awareness becomes the conscious property of all.
Is that fascinating or what?
So,
I mean, that's fascinating, because we're all...
What I gather from that would be then the first start. They begin washing, and then after a certain level, it becomes a collective consciousness to where other beings on the same wavelength understand, hey, we're going to wash the potato now before we eat it. That's kind of crazy. And the way you relate it to where the news media now, the way that we're being trained to think, and I think what's happening for so long, we've been, I don't want to use the term fake news, but the news that we've been given for so long hasn't necessarily been questioned. So we don't even know whether it's fake news or if it's just always a little bit of the piece of the news that we're getting, but that seems to be the collective consciousness. And I think what's happening now is that because of the term fake news, people have started to question the information that they've been told for so many years. So I would think that the person who starts to question the news that we've been given is similar to the monkey that's been washing the sweet potato now. Now you're seeing a group of people in one city and one neighborhood. Then it goes to the state and the national level. And the same fact that everyone's starting to go to the sea and wash the sand, off the potato here. And I think that's what's happening collectively as a whole. People are switching to not just believe what all is told to them now. And now everyone, it's subconsciously growing for people to question now more than ever.
I agree 100% with what you've said. Absolutely. And the thing about it is that it's almost like a flower. You plant a flower for the summer and you put it in the dirt, and you water it and water it, and it starts to grow really pretty, and you think, boy, it's gonna be a great flower. Well, you go on vacation and forget to water it, and it dies. It doesn't ever get to reach the beauty of that it has. I think that's kind of what the media does to us. We'll get up in the morning, we'll feel great, and you'll go to work and you think this is gonna be a great day and whatever. You go home and you listen to the news, or you listen to somebody that tells you about the news, and by the time you go home, you're depressed. You're thinking, oh my gosh, so and so shot somebody did this, somebody did that, and all of a sudden your energy is just dropped. And I have a Buddhist friend that he told me, he said, people, if they would quit watching the news and just get it out of their life, somebody will tell them if they need to know something.
Right.
And he said, but you would be surprised how much your energy, how much better you feel after a few weeks of not watching the negativity. Because we all get involved in it, And like I said, if Hurricane Harvey's going to come and flood you out, somebody's going to come tell you. You don't have to watch the news for that. They're going to tell you. Right. And anything that you're supposed to have spiritually, you'll be told. God is radio. Well. He'll tell you. He'll tell you to tell me, or he'll tell Brenda to tell you, or it'll get to you. I don't know. I think I think if people would stop listening to all of that, then maybe our news media and our people that give information would start giving either the whole picture or not give it at all.
Well, the interesting thing with that said is that in the past week, there's been journalists that have come out and said, you know what? They've written apologies. They've written open letters in their publishings, their newspapers or whatever they're a part
Mm-hmm.
of, that they've apologized for not presenting both sides and for not telling the whole truth in the articles now. To where that's what I'm saying. I think you're going to start seeing a shift,
Mm-hmm.
and especially within the political climate and the election on the way during this campaign. I think so many people got enough. They've had enough of the negative campaigning to where it's just all negative. This person, this person, this person. And it's so one-sided from the angles that, like we're saying, it's got to start changing. And I think that's what's about to happen, is that you don't have to be bombarded by all the negative things.
Right.
The right things are going to get to you in the right message somehow.
Well, and that's it. It doesn't matter what your political persuasion is. It really doesn't
Correct.
matter, because luckily we've always had Republicans, we've always had Democrats, we've always had the House and the Senate, and we've always had that. But lately, there isn't a balance. Everything's way out of balance on both sides, really. Way out of balance. So, and like you said, and thank heavens, things are changing. I think things are changing where people are saying, wait a minute, maybe there's another side to this story, whether it's on the Democrat or Republican. Maybe there's another side to this story, and I want to listen to both sides. And then I have a brain. I can make an intelligent decision. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be persuaded to make that decision. I know in my gut what I need to do, regardless of what it is.
Right. And I think so many times people block out the gut. It's easier for people not to make decisions for themselves. Some people would rather have the media or the news or their friends or social media make the decisions for them. And I don't know if necessarily that's because it's a choice they always want to make, but I think subconsciously people accept that because it's easier without them having to think. Maybe they've been taught like they're not smart enough to think
Mm-hmm.
on their own and make their own decisions for themselves. So they opt in to have the information just spoon-fed or given to them because they've subconsciously been told, let me make the decision for you. You're not smart enough. You didn't pass this test quite well. Your credit score is not really here. And it's a lot of no's and coming down on you to where subconsciously you just go ahead and take the information because that's what you feel that you deserve to just be spoon-fed.
Well, exactly. Well, from the time we're children, we're told, no, don't touch that. No, You can't do that.
Right.
No, don't go there. And we are told so many no's by the time we're 5 years old that we've already been convinced that we can't make a decision. And, I think that if people would really, and I don't care what you call God, God is so many things to so many people in so many names, but that greater power, like I said, we're created in that image. You aren't stupid. You've got a soul that talks to you. That soul is that first gut feeling. It talks to you. Listen to it, and you can make a decision. You have the ability. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the Aborigines and you haven't been exposed to people. You are still going to have that gut feeling of, oh, maybe I shouldn't go over there, or maybe I should go over there. None of us are stupid unless we have a mental disorder, and that can't be helped. But if you are do not have a mental disorder, or you're not taking a bunch of drugs, we all have that inner soul that talks to us. We don't need somebody to persuade us.
Right. And with that, and just to kind of go in and clarify maybe, there might be things that are blocking us. And whether it's neurological, like you said, maybe some type of disorder that maybe the intellectual side, like but the gut feeling and the rational, or like the part that's inside your spirit that tells you right and wrong, that's the thing that I think stays with everyone, whether your IQ is 10 or whatever the highest one is. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. And you know what, Crisco, and this happened a long time ago, but I know because I heard it one time that, it, like you said, it doesn't matter whether you have a mental disability or you have a handicap of some sort. Your soul is unaffected by all of that. Your soul is untouched. It's pure. It has to be pure to join the light again. It has to be pure to come from the light. Your soul is untouched, so it's always going to lead you. It's like a radio that you turn the volume down too low. Turn it back up.
You know what? I'm reading the comments, and Vita I've talked to you about Vita before. She's a Reiki healer, and
Yes.
so she says, but our food is affecting our gut, so you must cleanse the gut so you can listen to your gut feeling.
You know what? That's a good point. That's a very good point. Because, yeah, if we have a diseased body, then, yeah, it would be difficult. It's kind of rusting the cable between us and the light. It's a
Correct.
rusty cable. You got to clean the cable.
Correct, because I know she's like very strict on clean eating. She's competed in bodybuilding as well, and and done a lot of stuff with nutrition. So that's key, I think, keeping your body green. And this is leading me to the next thing I just want to touch on with the tapping in. We touched on this last week, but for people that did not catch last week's episode, that's why sometimes things overlap when we talk about, because we want to make sure people that are just watching now, they kind of understand kind of how everything works and what we're
Right.
but blockers, we talked about blockers last week, things that can block your chakras, things that can be negative to your body. So in this fact, again, what are some things that we can do to clear, whether it's food or whether it's stones, whether it's burning different candles or colors, things that we can use to eliminate the blockers again, so that way we can be in contact with the collective consciousness, so that we're able to tap into each other. If this is a super highway between me and you and our family members and our friends and our communities, to where we have a collective consciousness for the good, what are things that we can start doing now? And if other people have ideas or things that they've experienced, they can tap in as well. But what are things, Sandra, that you'd like to give us that we can do?
Well, I feel like the first thing that I've been working on, and I've had to work on it, like I said, I'm 74 years old, and I've had to work on a lot of things to get my act straight and to be able to do what I do. The first thing that I felt I had to learn was I had to learn to not judge people. That to know that everybody is going on a path, and that path is lined with God and them. It is lined with you and them. It's lined with God and them. And so they're going down their path, and maybe they're going down the path over the Rocky Mountains, and maybe you're going over the path through the Arizona desert, but it's your path. So you accept the person that's going over the Rocky Mountains, and you start looking at them as your brother or sister or your soul, because we're all connected. We all bleed red blood. We're all connected. So once you can get past that barrier of, well, you should have done this, or, well, look what he's doing, or, oh, I hate him because of so-and-so. No, we have to get rid of that. And once you do, and you start looking at each other as an equality, as equal, in a soul, start looking at the soul. I always say that, like, when you're mad at your husband, here we go, Crisco. I don't know whether Brenda gets mad at you or not, but when you're mad at somebody, or you've got a relationship and you just are really angry, look at that person as the little child. That's the first thing you have to do. Look at anybody that you address as a little child. It's easy to love a little child. It's not always easy to love an adult that has their own mind, but we're all little children. We're just in big bodies. We're still those little children. We're the scars that we picked up as little children. We're the judgments that we picked up by the time we were 5. We learned how to love. That's been proven by the time we're 5. So if we're with an abusive parent, we learn abuse is love. If we're with an alcoholic parent, we learn that alcohol is love. So, and we will marry someone like that. So the first thing you have to do, I think, to be able to spiritually start pulling in, is look at the person as the little child that they are. Then you ask yourself, what happened to this little child? Did he have a great life? Did he have the Beaver Cleaver life? Or did he have this life? Then you can start to love them for who they are, not for what you think they should be. Wow. So that's the first thing, because once you get past that, you're loving yourself.
So number one, do not judge other people. Number one, do not judge. I love that.
You know what? We have, that's God's right. We have no right to do that. And how can you judge somebody when you didn't walk in their feet when they were 5 years old? You weren't raised like they were. There's no way that you can they don't even love the way you do. They weren't raised the way you were. So you have to stop and ask yourself, if you've got a relationship, and I don't know why I'm on this, but if you've got a relationship, then you look at them and say, wait a minute, they're not me. They don't love like I love. They love as good as I do, but they don't love like I love. Maybe I have to tell you every day, I love you, I love you, I love you. I send you flowers. But maybe to you, that doesn't mean anything. Maybe you just want to provide for me or support me. And to you, that's love because that's what your parents showed you was love.
Wow.
So I'm just saying that once you get past the human concept of who that person is in front of you or who that friend is or who the acquaintance is, and you start getting into the soul of that person, soul is pure, and you can love that person and get past the judgments. So once you do that, you've forgiven yourself. Does that make sense? Once you really
that's for somebody tonight. I don't know who needs it because for you to go off in there and
I'm sorry.
no, I'm just saying for you to elaborate on that, somebody needed to hear that.
Maybe so. But that is one of the big steps because we have all that junk with us. Okay, number one. Number two, try to limit negativity. I'll tell you a secret. Somebody told me this a long time ago, and it does work. When somebody's in front of you, and Crisco, in your business, I know you run into this. Somebody's in front of you, and they're just going on about, it's a crappy day. I'm not happy with my job. My wife is just miserable. My kids, on and on and on. Put your hand right up here, like you're resting through, and block that chakra, like we talked about, because they're sucking the life out of you. And that's something you have to learn too, because as they suck the life out of you, you are just drained. And then how can you connect with the light in you when they've already sucked everything else out of you? That happens.
Yes.
So when you cover that chakra right there, your communication chakra, then all of a sudden you still have more energy. You're not tired when you talk to that person because they're not getting what they need.
Right.
Then they'll go away. So you've removed that negativity, period.
Right.
And so then you start feeling better about yourself.
And they'll probably get weaker at that because they're not getting anything from you. They'll move on and just leave eventually.
Exactly.
Now, what about Epsom salt baths and meditation?
Oh, yeah. That's the next thing I was going to say is lavender salt. And this bath salts, it's like you said, Epsom salts. You can buy the bag for $5 or something. If you don't take baths in it, then just use it on your shower and scrub your skin with it and shower off really good. It makes your skin really soft, but it also takes care of the negativity. And when you do that, you have to do all of that and then just literally stand under the shower and just shake your hands like that because and then visualize all that gray junk that you've picked up in the day coming out and away from you. That's a real big thing. And if you're in the bathtub, do the same thing. Stand up, just shake all the junk out, close your eyes, and then just see everything being replaced with light.
Yes.
And you're going to feel better. You're going to sleep like a baby and you're going to feel better. That's another thing is that's like I said, limit the negativity. And when somebody starts the negativity, if you can't put light on it by giving suggestions and they don't want to hear them, then walk away, step away, because it's like, they're showing me, it's like a smoke-filled room. You either stay in it and choke to death or you walk out of it and breathe. Wow, that's what they told me.
Wow. They're here today. They're here today.
They're here today.
They're here today. Wow. Also sage as well. And I think we went through our kit last week where we showed the sage, whether it's the actual rolled like leaf, or if it's the wood that you can burn as well. I keep one on my mantle back here, so if we ever light it, we just kind of keep it right there in another little stand that we have as well. So those are things that is there 3? Do you have a 4?
Well, I was going to say also it never hurts to get those little votive candles that are blessed. You can buy them in the grocery store. They're actually Hebrew, I think, but they're blessed. But get 3 of them and always keep them burning when you're at home, in some room, but put them together because it represents the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's 3. Always do. And they say always do everything in 3. Even if you arrange something in your house, do it in 3s because you're representing the Trinity.
You know what? I want to talk about that next week in 3s. Just things that happen in 3s, whether people say people die in 3s.
They do.
Blessings come in 3s. That will be next week's topic. Can you write that down, please, so we do not forget?
I just did.
There we go.
Just did.
And also, we're going to stare at the flame and meditate that way. And you know what? I think what we'll do on one Monday as well is proper meditation, or what works for people as meditation, and the act of focusing on something. And sometimes people think like it just have to be quiet and move everything away. But I know people that can meditate in the middle of a subway. It's about focusing, not necessarily making sure you're quiet and everything away, but it's about focusing on being able to be clear on one on one thing. I think that's what I've heard before. I don't meditate. I've tried and attempted over the years, and it's just so hard for me because my brain
Well,
is always racing.
Yeah, you're going like a mile a
I
minute.
try. And if I could meditate, that'd be my bucket list. I'm going. That's probably what happens.
But you're an active guy. I mean, I couldn't keep up with you.
Even when I sleep, man, it's bad. So next week we'll definitely talk about the threes and how everything happens with that specific number as well. Well,
Great. I think good.
I can't believe it's already been 30 minutes.
No.
Do you want to open up the
let's do
Instagram Live
that.
for folks?
Let's ask a couple of questions. Sure.
Okay, so hey Lisa, there's Dell. What's up, Dell? Steve, what's good? Does anyone have a question you want to jump on? What we do here, I take Sandra off and I invite you in, or you can request to come in, and you'll get one question. And just make sure when we come to you that you don't have to be in a well lit room, but just that way we can be clear and understand what you're trying to ask Sandra. And all you have to do is just request to jump in my live, and or you can text it on the screen, and we'll come to you. We normally take about 2 or 3 people is what we normally do.
Yeah.
So if anybody has a question, if not, we will wrap it up. Or maybe there's another question. Maybe you're too shy to ask, but you can type it on the screen.
So my question is, I'm dealing with some child custody issues with my ex-husband, and I just want to know if the judge will go in my favor or not.
Oh, okay. So what was she asking? That she's having a custody situation? I don't feel like it's going to be entirely in her favor, but I feel like it's going to be more favorable than she thinks it's going to be. So that would mean to me that maybe there's a compromise made there on the other side that's going to be approved or agreed to. So I don't feel like she's going to get exactly what she wants, but she'll get almost what she wants.
Next up is Boogie 1975. And what if it's not Boogie and it's Bogey or Bougie? Bougie. Am I saying it right? Is it Bougie?
Yes.
Okay, Bougie girl. All right.
So I had a friend who passed away, a coworker who passed away about 3 years ago. And they claimed that he committed suicide. I just wanted to know if there's maybe it was an accident or if he really did commit suicide.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And we're sorry about your friend.
It was an accident. It was almost like he had contemplated it, but he really didn't intend to do it. And it was almost like at the last minute, it was, oh man, like it really wasn't the intent in his mind when he left here that he would kill himself. That was not his intent. He was very confused at that time, but I feel like for the last several minutes, he didn't intend on doing that. It wasn't intentional. It was more accidental because he'd already gone too far, couldn't back up.
Wow.
That's what I'm getting. Gone too far, couldn't back up.
For the people that's just joining us now, and maybe they've never been a part of a reading, or maybe in any type of room or situation with a psychic or psychic medium, when you're answering the questions here, how exactly, if you can, just briefly talk about what is happening? Are you just imagining that, okay, this and that? Do you see it? Do you hear it? Do you smell or taste? What exactly happens to where when someone, like when she's asking a question about someone who's passed, and they indicate that, it wasn't intentional suicide, this has happened. What is happening at that moment?
Well, of course, luckily he'd been gone long enough that I could connect. I can't connect with somebody until they've been gone at least 2 months, because we witness our funerals, and I could tell you a long story about things that have happened that had proven that. So, but I will tell you that I get thoughts. It's like a thought process. It's like you're sitting in the car and you go, oh, I need to turn down that street. That's what it does to me. Like when we're talking, all of a sudden a thought comes in like that. And I know to listen because I'm we're asking the question. They know what's happening. Everybody on the other side's watching. I mean, they really do. They know what's going on with you, with me. And so it's a thought that just kind of goes through. Like I said, well, should I turn right here? And you hear, no, I don't think so. Okay. And the thought just goes through and you grab it. And that's the thing that, like when I said you could do this, everybody can do this. You have to separate the conscious from the soul, and you have to be willing to grab it. The minute that thought comes, it goes just like that. And the minute it comes, you have to grab it. You don't, instead of saying, oh, I thought that. That wasn't them. It was them. And you just have to learn to get your conscious mind out of it and then grab the thought.
And I know in the past you've said that sometimes if it's a name, like it might have a sound. So it could be an S or a C, P or S or F. Sometimes of those things. Sometimes they may show you a color or they may show you an object. Kind of just elaborate on that as well.
Well, like a lot of times, like let's say your grandmother. I'm going to talk about your grandmother because I'll always remember her, and I'll always remember because you were doing the radio when she passed. And you know, the thing that you said she liked were candles. Remember, you got the candle for her. Remember? Okay. And so she liked candles. So, you know, if you're sitting in the living room and all of a sudden you get goosebumps or you see a shadow out of your eye, that's them. That's somebody there. And all you have to do is close your eyes and go, I know somebody's here. Who is it? And just breathe. And you know what? Like for you, you might see someone light a candle. And you go, oh, that's my grandma. She loved candles. I know. Hi, how are you? Or maybe it's your mother and she made cherry pie every Sunday. You may see a cherry tree or a pie go by and you go, oh, man, that's my mom. That's how it works. I mean, you like you said, I see things, I get things. And sometimes I'll get things that make no sense to me, but they make sense to you because it's your messages. They're not my messages. When I'm doing a reading for you, it's your family, your neighborhood, and your messages.
Yeah, and
not mine.
I've witnessed firsthand so many times how you over the phone, not even in person, not even to what we did Instagram Live where you get to see the people over the phone at the radio station,
right.
And people where you just nail it, and people, it's amazing how where they don't even have to say much, they just want to ask the question, and you're basically, what is it about this? And I've heard people just break down and cry, and seen in person to where. Wow, I just so I know, yeah. I know definitely that the gifts that you have and just the impact that it does help people, and I've seen it firsthand. So
well, thank you.
Thank you all for joining.
Well, DeClaro's saying, and she's true, that sometimes you can smell a scent.
A scent,
like
yeah.
If your dad, you know, your dad smokes, doesn't he?
Mine? No.
Does your dad? Oh, he doesn't. Okay. If somebody smoked, I don't know why I thought your dad smoked. If somebody smokes, then you might smell cigarette smoke. You might be sitting in the living room and you know, and your dad's passed or something, and he was a heavy smoker. All of a sudden you go, who's smoking? You know, you can get a scent, or maybe sometimes your mother wore one particular kind of perfume, and all of a sudden you smell the perfume and you're thinking, where's that coming from? It's coming from them.
Yeah.
It's coming from them.
Yep. Oh, hold on. JD3 Radio. I had a question. As a matter of fact, he had two questions. So this will be our last one, and then we got to run. So JD3, I'm going to come to you right quick. And my grandpa rolled his cherry cigarettes. Maybe the cigarettes came from Cedar Clara. What's up, man?
What up?
All
hey,
right.
So I had a question. I don't know if I can roll two into one. Is that okay?
Try to stay with one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess right now, currently, I'm about to go and kind of go on a business venture, and something that really hasn't been done in my field of what I do, which is voiceover. And I'm really, really going like, I don't know. I'm basically going to flip the industry on its head. And so I'm kind of worried. I'm hoping it's going to go well. And I think it's going to go well. I don't know if she can kind of foresee that or kind of see what she thinks. But I'm doing something completely different, and I'm hoping it scales, and I'm hoping I do well, and I'm hoping this is my golden ticket. So I guess I want to know, is this my golden ticket?
Okay. Cool, man. Good luck.
All right, brother.
She's told me which cities I'm moving to when I've done like different.
Really?
So, yeah, man. It's crazy. So
I believe it.
Yep. We're going right back to Sandra.
That's interesting because I just took some voiceover classes because I'm trying to get some voiceover work. How funny. For him, I think that it's going to make a change, and I think it needs to be made. You know, there's a lot of talented people out there that and ways to do things. I feel like that he's involved, but I feel like November, December is going to be an important month for him in these things that he's doing. So I would say keep going forward, and yes, absolutely do it.
There it is. Keep going forward. Nice. All right. Well,
There it is.
Next week we'll do more questions. I promise.
This-
All your social media. One more
I'm
time,
sorry.
Sandra Logan, where would you like to go?
Okay, well, to make an appointment or to schedule an appointment, you would have to go to my website, sandralogan.org. And I ask everybody to go to my YouTube, Sandra Logan Psychic, and see my Soul series. I would appreciate that. And then, and like I said, sandralogan.org is my website. sandralogan1@yahoo.com is my email. And so those are all the ways. And of course, I am Sandra Logan on Instagram. So that would be great too. And I just wanted to say something real quick, and I know we're running over time, but when we were talking about making the ripples, because we brought that up again this year, a friend of mine, Joanne, and she said that she always told her children that, about making the ripples, but that be careful and make sure that you make the kind of ripples you want to make when you throw the rock in the lake.
And I'm just saying, I'm glad we do this on Mondays because we have the ability to throw the rock and create the ripple we want for the rest of the week today, starting today. So is it going to be positive?
Right.
It's going to be negative. Starting today, be careful with the pebble that you're going to throw this week because it will affect the rest of your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
exactly. Make sure, I guess basically, how you throw a rock to the left side of the shore or to the right side of the shore. So make sure you're throwing it in the right direction of where you want it to go.
That's true as well. That's true.
Right?
Why do I keep going backwards?
Yeah.
Well, which way are you throwing your rock, buddy?
I love that. Yeah.
Yep. Sandra Logan, I love you.
Well, Crisco, thank you so much for this always. And
yes, it is always love. Keep telling your friends. We get more viewers every week. Thank y'all. We'll see you next week.